Hello, welcome to the Healthy Alternatives podcast. I am Dr. Christine Sauer with DocChristine.com. Today's show is a recording of my radio show of the same name. Enjoy! Good afternoon, this is Dr. Christine Sauer, host of the show Healthy Alternatives, here on 97.5 CIOE FM with live stream on communityradio.ca. every Thursday at 12 noon Atlantic Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in today. In this show, I will talk mostly with guests about all aspects of health, healthcare and wellness, from conventional to alternative and everything in between. My mission for this radio show is to help change people's lives for the better by informing them about different options to get and stay healthy and well, so they can choose for themselves which options might work in their case. And if you feel you are stuck in a dark place, I want to tell you, don't give up. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for you too. Today, I'm very pleased to be with Matthew Perry, a health enthusiast and co-founder and CEO of the Good Crisp Company. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Where are you and how did you get to make a healthier version of potato chips of all kinds?
Yes, I am currently in Boulder, Colorado. I moved here in January with my family from Australia, originally from a beachside little town called Adelaide in South Australia. So that's my background. I got into health and wellness probably about 5 years ago. I've always been in the food space, developing and selling snack foods in Australia and around the world. But as far as my own personal focus on health, that was about 5 years ago, where I just started to feel, the effects of a lifetime of bad eating to some degree. So bloating, fatigue, all of those things. And so went through a journey of trying to work out what foods were affecting me the most. And so reading a lot of the back of food panels and ingredients and cutting lots of things out and found that I certainly had some food intolerances to onion and garlic and dairy to some degree as well. So was looking at all of those things. So that was really one of the keys for me to start looking and reading more about what I was putting in my body. And the other one was as well, I have 3 young daughters. So, looking at the foods that we were giving them and the snacks as parents, especially as new parents, like a lot of people, you become a lot more aware of the food you are eating. And I was looking at the snacks I was giving them, which were the same food that I'd grown up, and thinking, wow, this is still the same food, still the same, all the artificial colors and sugars and all of this stuff in this product. There's got to be better products out there. And definitely there are. And so I was looking into that. But one of the products that I really enjoyed eating as a kid was Pringles and canister chips. And certainly my children enjoyed those as well. And they loved the format of the canister and the chip. But I wasn't happy with the ingredients. So I started looking around for a better option. And I just couldn't find anything. So I thought, well, if this is a problem that I've got, maybe other people have as well. And so I worked with a manufacturer that I knew that could make the product. And we developed a range of canister chips that better suited my preference when it came to the ingredients and the type of product I was giving myself and my children.
Wow, that is really amazing. And I know many of my listeners love potato chips, but they're concerned about their health effects. And of course, depending on the diet, they may not be good for you at all if you're on a low-carb diet. But if you are on a more or less regular diet or have to avoid gluten and a little bit of dairy, that's a better option.
Yeah, and look, I'm very conscious that our product is a snack product. It's a treat product. It's to have, occasionally, absolutely. We need treats. They're important. They're good motivators and to reward ourselves and our children. So I understand the need for treats, but we just figure, well, if you're going to treat yourself, why not do something that's got better ingredients for you than lots of other brands and certainly other canister chips out there in the market. So don't sacrifice on taste. You don't need to sacrifice on the type of product you're having. but we can help take away some of that guilt and some of those ingredients that you're trying to avoid.
I really love that concept, because many people that I talk to that have to be on a dairy or gluten-free especially diet, they sometimes want to snack. And if they don't have other options and they have a weak moment, they go out and buy regular potato chips, and whoops, they have a reaction. And that way they can avoid tripping up if chips is a weakness, which many people have. So that's beautiful. Now let's backtrack a little bit, because I'm intrigued that you grew up in Adelaide in Australia, and I myself, I'm a fan of Arthur Upfield, who wrote mystery settings, set it in middle Australia with the Aboriginals, and a lot was in Adelaide and the Big Rock, and I always want to go to Australia. One day I will. Tell us a little bit about growing up there and how it was in Australia as compared to the States.
Yeah, so I guess, the big difference, especially now living in Denver, which is a landlocked country, or state, should I say, was just growing up by the beach. That was a big, big part of my childhood, and certainly my children. We would go down to the beach very regularly. So it was a great little town. We had, beautiful food and wineries and really gourmet food. And then we had lots of wonderful world-class beaches there as well. So not a very popular, it's got great tourist attractions, but, not as popular as the Gold Coast and the Great Barrier Reef and Melbourne and Sydney. So it's this little hidden gem there in Australia. So I really enjoyed my time there. But as our company grew and as our product expanded here in the US, there's just such a big population here and such a demand for natural products, through great grocery stores like Whole Foods and places like that. We really started to expand. And so this year, we sold nationally through all Whole Food stores. We sell in all Walmart stores across the country, all 4,000 stores in the gluten-free section there. We sell up into Canada and lots of the groceries up there. So we were starting to build a presence here in North America, and I couldn't continue to run the business from Australia. It was just getting too much, and the time differences were really difficult. And I was up all night and first thing in the morning trying to do calls. So my wife and I made the decision that we would move over here and focus on growing the business here in America.
Now, you said you came over, I believe, a few years ago. How many years ago was that?
No, just started this year. In January we came. So we've been here for...
lived in Australia in January, in the middle of the summer, if I understand that right.
Correct. You're right. It was 100 degrees by the beach.
And came to snowy, mountainous Colorado.
Yes. It was a bit of a shock, but there's certainly worse places in the world to experience. Denver is a wonderful place. The blue skies, the mountains, it's pretty beautiful.
I've been in Denver and it is lovely, and there's hot springs close by and they are wonderful to bathe in.
Correct.
How old are your children, when I may ask?
Of course, yes. I have 3 girls. They are 9, 6 and 4. So probably about the right age. We thought if we leave it any longer before we moved, it would become really tricky for them. Mm-hmm. So we just had that little window of time where we thought we could pick everyone up and move over here. So that's what we did, and it's worked out really well so far.
I'm happy to hear that, and lovely 3 girls of a really nice age right now. Wait until they are teenagers.
Yeah. Now, it is a worry.
Young fella, so how did you resolve your own stomach issues? Because you talked about bloating and a kind of IBS-like feeling. Yes,
correct. So part of it was... which you may be familiar with, and it is growing here in the US, but bigger in Australia, was the FODMAP diet.
Yeah.
So that was, a big part of sort of working through some of the things that were affecting me, working out what my food allergies were. It's quite a strict diet, as you'd be aware. So I didn't stay on that for too long, but that did identify a few foods that I needed to stay clear of. And that's probably been the big thing for me, is just knowing those foods that affect me and making sure I avoid them.
And I commend you for being able to find it out, because many people have big trouble finding it out. They go on all kinds of different elimination diets, and it gets better a little bit, then it gets worse again. In spite of being on the diet, then they can't keep the diet, and whoops, it's back.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing, and I certainly haven't got to the bottom of all of my issues, but I've certainly identified a couple of the key ones that I know that if I can avoid those, I can live a relatively unaffected life without the occasional flare up. So it's a sort of a balance, but definitely not perfect yet.
Now, I suppose you're married. Am I right?
That's correct, yes.
How did your wife and the children react to you wanting to move to the US? It's quite a move.
Yeah, it is quite a move, and they'd never been overseas. So even my wife, so their first plane trip was heading over to the US to live. So look, but it was definitely a decision we made together as a family, and part of it was also, this idea of, look, we could come over here and have a horrible time, and you know what, we'll just come home. That'll be the worst of it, versus we never go, and then we always have this thought in the back of our mind, what would have happened if we had gone? That doubt and that guilt for not giving it a go when we could have. So for me and for my wife, it was worth giving it a go rather than living with that what if for the rest of our lives.
I love that decision. I've talked to lots of dying people, and to be honest, nobody said to me, I wish I worked more, I wish I made more money, but they say, I wish I took the risks that I wanted to take and do what I wanted to do. And they regret that sometimes, that they didn't have the courage to take the risks to actually do what they feel is the right thing to do at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how difficult was it for you and your family to actually get settled and immigrate into the US?
Thankfully, not too bad. So Australia and America have great ties as countries, and have good visa relations. So it's a lot of paperwork, but thankfully quite straightforward. So we're able to get a rolling visa here in the US as long as we've got a job and working for a company. We can come and live here. So thankfully that wasn't too bad. And we all speak the same language. It's adjusting has been relatively easy. It's just really that whole moving away from all of your friends and your family and your network that you've grown up with, and then dropping into the middle of somewhere where you know no one, and having to build up those networks again. So they've been the challenging parts of it, and it's taking us some time. It's been about 7 months now, and we're just starting to feel like we're getting those networks, and we're feeling like we're starting to belong. So, it's exciting.
And the children are back in school, which is wonderful.
Yeah, correct.
So how do they do here in school in the US? Well, I shouldn't say here. I'm in Canada. So
Well, so actually at the moment we're homeschooling the girls. So we didn't do that in Australia, but we thought we would do it when we first arrived, just to sort of ease them into it. And also as well, I'm traveling a lot around the country visiting customers, and we thought, look, let's travel together. Let's make the most of this experience and get out and see the country and have experiences that we wouldn't have if we had to sort of have the kids stuck in school all the time. So it's been really good actually.
Now, that's wonderful. And really, this is a good point to end the first half of today's broadcast here on 97.5 CIOE FM Community Radio. Hello and welcome back to Healthy Alternatives here on 97.5 CIOE FM or on the web at communityradio.ca. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer, and today I'm talking with Matthew Perry, co-founder and CEO of the Good Crisp Company. Welcome back, Matthew.
Thank you.
And in the first half, we were talking a little bit about your move with your family from Australia to the States. And tell us a little bit more about how you got to actually invent the Good Potato Chips, the Good Crisp Company. Did you start it in Australia?
We did, yeah. So the product, as I mentioned, is like a better for you Pringles style product. So we knew we wanted it to have all of that nostalgic value that goes around with the canister chip that I love, that many of us grew up with. But just with a better ingredient base. So we knew it needed to be in the canister. We knew it needed to be in that shape. So we found a manufacturer, a world-class manufacturer that could do that, and worked with them on, okay, well, what do we want? And really, probably more specifically, what do we not want in the product? And that tends to be the case with potato chips. Over time, manufacturers, they get a bit enamored with science and chemicals, and we can do it better than nature, and they start to put all this stuff into the product that should never have been there in the first place. So, straight off, our product is certified.
Let's talk about what did you not want in your potato chips?
Yeah, certainly. So our product is certified gluten-free, and that seems strange for a potato chip because, they should be gluten-free. There's no gluten in potatoes, but Pringles and other brands, they put flour and fillers and other cheaper ingredients in there that aren't gluten-free. So we wanted to make sure that our product was as simple as possible. So we took all of that stuff out. So it's just a higher percentage of potato. We use some tapioca starch to help hold it together. Our product is cooked with palm oil. So we wanted to make sure that we were using sustainable palm oil. So we have fully RSPO certified sustainable palm oil, not only for the plantations we buy it from, but also all of our supply chain is certified as well. So we know exactly where that oil is going and making sure that it is ending up on our product. So that was a big part of it. Yeah. And then when we came to the flavoring, we didn't want to have MSG or artificial flavor enhancers or things like that in our product. So we took all of that out and we just used natural flavorings and certainly no artificial colors or things like that. So that's the core basis of what makes up our product.
Now, that's very different from regular potato chips. And many people that need to be gluten-free are not aware that in regular potato chips or Pringles, there are starch in it, wheat, flour is in it.
Yes,
and all
flour,
kinds of flavor enhancers like MSG, which is really not good for us. And so I'm pleased to see that you don't put that in. Yes, there's a little bit sugar in it I've seen, but I think you need something as a flavoring, but it's not one of the first ingredients. So I love that.
No, in fact, actually, and it is for us a continual progress. So just even on that sugar point, our new, so we've done a new packaging and some new flavor enhancement that comes out in January, and we've taken that sugar out. That was coming a bit from, around the potatoes and the carbohydrates. We've come up with a way to remove that little bit of sugar. So we've taken that out, and it is a continual process. For us, it's a real balance between the two of taste and also better ingredients. And continually we work on that balance. We don't want to be completely, tasteless, but really, really healthy, because what's the point? We're a snack product. But equally, there's no point being really, really healthy if we're full of ingredients that don't align with our customers and my lifestyle. So we continue to work on that balance. And the other side of it, sorry, I forgot to mention as well, is we are certified non-GMO. So we are project verified non-GMO for all of our flavors now as well. And that was an important part coming here to the US as well, to ensure that, we had that covered off for our product.
Yeah, and that's very important to many people that don't want to eat genetically modified foods because of the high pesticide content. Do you do any testing for residues in your food or not yet?
We do testing on the raw potato flakes that we get in to make sure there's no residue of Roundup or anything like that on our products.
Wow, that's amazing nowadays, because Roundup is everywhere and it destroys our gut microbiome.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, I know. I have to taste your chips. Now, I looked on your website. What is it again?
thegoodcrispcompany.com.
Okay, and I looked on that, and it says on the website still shipping to the US only. Now I'm in Canada. What do I do when I want to taste your potato chips?
Yes, we are in Canada now. We have a distributor out there, and we're starting to roll out into grocery stores up there. I don't know if our website has been updated yet, but certainly if people want to reach out to me or reach out to us via the contact us on the website, we can let them know their closest retailer. But we're in about 1,000 or so grocery stores up in Canada now, and that's continuing to grow as well.
Excellent. Now, I'm on the East Coast, so usually it takes a little longer, but I'm looking forward to being able to get them because my husband especially, he loves potato chips. And
You can get us on Amazon and also buy us through our website as well for those people.
Oh, you can get it on Amazon.ca, or is it still on .com?
.com, I think it would be. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they ship to Canada sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky where you are. Where else are your potato chips available?
So across the US, we're in over 10,000 grocery stores. So as I mentioned, all Whole Food stores, Walmart in the gluten-free sort of natural food set they've got there. Most natural grocery stores also carry us, and we're starting to get out into more conventional ones as well. So if you are based in the US, we do have a good store locator on our website there. We're also sold back in Australia as well. So yeah, a couple of different countries, but really focusing on North America at the moment.
Now let's get back to the ingredients. What about the potatoes? Where do they come from?
So we source them from either the US or from Denmark, Europe.
So what kind of potatoes are there? I mean, coming from Germany myself, I'm now for 21 years in Eastern Canada. There's over 20 varieties of potatoes. And here we have white potatoes, yellow potatoes, red potatoes. That's pretty much it. How sad is that?
There are a lot of various types. So our product actually takes potato flake. So that's what we use then, or dehydrated potato to then make our product. So it's molded to get that consistent shape, sort of unlike a potato chip where you're sort of getting a raw potato and cutting it up. We use the potato flake, which is then, as I said, molded and fried and flavored.
Yeah, and most of the potato chips that you buy commercially are made this way because it is the most consistent way of producing the same kind of product that the consumer wants, right?
That's correct. And certainly with our product, which fits into a canister, they all need and stack on top of each other. They need to be consistent. That's what gives it its uniqueness and gives it that sort of something a bit different. So, yeah, absolutely.
And many people love it that way, and the canisters are easy to take with you. The chips don't break. So that's a big thing for your production probably. And many people don't think about how potato chips are produced. Tell us a little bit about how regular potato chips are produced and how yours are produced. Because people don't think that way where the food comes from anymore, and they should.
Yeah, so Debbie said before, with a normal potato chip, I mean, there are lots of different ways to do it, but the most common is exactly, as you said, sort of you get a spud that's sort of peeled, or some brands leave the skin on. They're sliced up, and that then becomes the chip. They're then sort of fried and flavoured, and that becomes the chip and put into bag. So with us, and that's where you get that different shapes and sizes and irregularity in the product, and there's certainly a place for that, and it's an interesting chip to have. For us, it's got to be more about consistency. So, we use dehydrated potato, the same potato, but just flaked out and sort of almost not a potato mash, but sort of not a potato, sort of in between those two things, where it's sort of turned into a shape that we can stretch out and then stamp in our different shapes to make sure that we get the consistent product and the consistent texture all the way through our product.
Well, now that is quite something to actually achieve that, because as I know, Pringles have a certain form and it's not flat. So I find
Correct.
It very interesting from the production technology side. And I know Pringles is formed, of course, from potato chips or potato flakes, but not the good kind. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so they've added a lot of other things to flat, because potato is more expensive than flour and wheat and things like that. So their percentage of potato is certainly a lot lower than someone like ours. So, that's how it's done. And you're right, we get the curve in the product through the manufacturing. And there's only a handful of people in the world that can make canister chips. It's certainly not as popular as technology-wise as a normal potato chip manufacturer.
Well, yes, but also people don't realize is that regular potatoes are often doused in Roundup and contain high concentrations of it, whereas yours are tested and have none. So that is a biggie, because here
Yeah,
the potatoes get doused with glyphosate, and they are high in glyphosate just to defoliate them. It's crazy, but they do it.
Yeah, it is. It's disappointing.
Yeah. And so that's good to know. And how do you source your other ingredients? We have about a minute left or two, so that will be just right.
Yeah, so we use a world-class suppliers of ingredients. We sell millions of chips now across the country and around the world. So, we've gone from being a small little backyard company, while we're still only a handful of people, but product quality is really essential for us, especially now that we start dealing with the likes of Walmart and places like that. So we use and source our ingredients from world-class suppliers all around the country and all around the globe that can give us the best quality to ensure we have consistent and safe product.
And I'm really happy to hear you talk about a healthier snack product that's actually sourced with good ingredients and that you can recommend instead of snacking on regular potato chips. If you choose to snack, hey, try those Good Crisps by what's it called? Good Crisp Company. And I think
that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And it was a big pleasure to having you on the show, Matthew. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
And that brings me to the end of today's show. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any questions, thoughts, comments, or suggestions. Or if you'd like to contact Matt and forgot the address, my email here is christine@communityradio.ca, or contact me through my website, docchristine.com, and I'm always grateful for feedback. Thank you all for listening to Healthy Alternatives. I'm your host, Dr. Christine Sauer. Tune in next Thursday at noon at 97.5 CIOE FM Community Radio with live stream on communityradio.ca for the next episode. Goodbye and have a great day. Hey, thank you, Matthew. That was great.